Hi everyone, I'm Ken from CryptoTradingKS. If you're new, welcome, and welcome back, KS family. Let's run the numbers. Bitcoin currently up 4.39% to 44,078. Ethereum up 7.14% to 3104. From my 30 plus years in financial markets, I explain the smart money mindset to assist you to be more of a financial blessing to yourself and those you love, gaining real wealth in the process. If you would like daily updates on price movements in the crypto market, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, please subscribe to YouTube. If you're going through a life pullback at the moment, please know that our community's love and healing thoughts are with you. There's always hope. The sun will come out again, and you're not alone. Looking at the Crypto Fear and Greed Index, we can see the fear is slowly leaving the market. We had an extreme amount of fear, but that's improving. That's getting better. More optimism is returning to the market. Looking at Bitcoin options expiring at the end of the month, what we see is the put-call ratio is very bullish, 0.67. We also see that there are lots of bets effectively for higher and increasing prices towards the end of the month, and max pain, where the majority of options expire worthless, is 42,000. This is showing that there's optimism inside the crypto market. We look at Bitcoin because it's so incredibly important to the crypto ecosystem. Rule 45, no alt can escape Bitcoin's gravity. After yesterday's video, we saw a big spike in price upwards, and we saw that there was also reports of an easing of tension between Russia and Ukraine. What we're actually seeing is a large move upwards requires a digesting of price action. You can think about like this. Percy, the magnetic price sheet, which is Bitcoin Percy, Bitcoin's price, to get through this resistance, this very strong resistance, Percy has to forge through, and he did so. But what happened was that he met a level of resistance above at this 43,458 mark. So it slowed him down. Then he had another level of resistance at 43,827. Percy was hyped up on coffee, so he went through that particular level, but then he got to another level of resistance around 44,231 and a higher level at 44,402. Poor old Percy, he's getting tired. Basically, he's coming down to a level of support. You can think of these lines, if they're below price, they are support lines. They're like fences. And if they're above price, they're resistance lines. They slow price down. Percy is basically just chilling at the moment, getting over this big move upwards. We know the price is very volatile inside the crypto market, so we need to look externally. You can see just how important the external look is when we talk about warfare or other global macroeconomic level situations. We need to know how they play out on crypto. What current price action is telling us is there's lots and lots of rejection of these higher prices. What we may find is Percy dips down a little bit, regains his balance, and then charges off again. This will really depend very much on what's happening with Russia and Ukraine at the moment, but there could be other factors, so we need to look through global macroeconomic events. When we look at Reuters news service stories on Russia, we can see stocks rally, oil slips as Russia-Ukraine tensions ease. That was 5 minutes ago. Wall Street surges as easing geopolitical worries fuel broad rally. You can see just how much the markets are dependent on geopolitical events. Wall Street ends sharply higher as war fears recede 36 minutes ago. Biden says Russia attack on Ukraine still possible an hour ago. The reason that we must look at the stock market, the bond market, gold, is crypto is really tiny. It's a $2 trillion market. It's just a babe in the woods compared to the stock market, about 120 trillion, and bonds over 120 trillion. Crypto is literally at the start of its adoption cycle. Masterclass students, you will receive my live chart in TM6. What do we see here? Fear is receding from the market, driving the NASDAQ 100 up. Oil is receding. Geopolitical tension and fear is coming out of the market. And we can see gold also is coming down very, very sharply. This tends to confirm that there's an easing of geopolitical tension at the moment. We can also see bond prices falling, yields increasing, and we've got a slight increase in the DXY. When we look at war sentiment, we can see these defense stocks are starting to come down. They're starting to show a little bit of weakness. Masterclass students, you will receive this in LV12. One particularly valuable rule is Rule 19, sharp angles reverse. That occurs to the downside as well as to the upside. When we're looking at gold and the precious metals, we can see gold has actually breached a level of resistance. Gold coming back in to retest this level and turn it to support makes a lot of sense. But what we're actually seeing is geopolitical tension seems to be decreasing. This will drop the price of gold. Another thing to note is the price of copper, palladium and platinum is coming up as silver is also coming down. Masterclass students, you will receive this in TR23. Government policy is also related not just to wars but to pandemics. We can see 415.5 million cases of C19 around the world. Yesterday we had under 1.5 million new cases globally. That's an impressive improvement. As the VIX receded, as fear came out of the major stock market, and we saw a rallying in stock market indices, and we know how big they are, that restores confidence for investors. We can also see all the transportation indexes jumping up, following in line with the indexes. Masterclass students, you will get this in TM3. We can see the airlines index was starting to get above resistance. It may be failing. We'll just keep our eye on that. There is an enormous amount of discussion between Fed policies, inflation, tightening, interest rate increases, all of these things. We can just go behind the news and check it all out ourselves. We can see the money stock M1 and M2, and we can see the Fed balance sheet 8.88 trillion. The 5-year break-even inflation rate is starting to surge up. From our crypto perspective, this means that there are positive drivers for the increase of Bitcoin's price. Masterclass students, you will receive my live chart in TM4. When we have a look at bond yields, such as the 30-year and the 10-year, we can see they correlate very, very nicely in towards Bitcoin's price action. This is something that we always want to keep in mind. They're not 100% in sync, but it does allow us to stack some probabilities together. Masterclass students, I will be putting out a video in LV10A where I share this chart with you. We saw in the major macro analysis that the bond prices were coming down. What I've done is I've just zoomed out here and we compare Bitcoin versus Treasury bond prices. Masterclass students, you will get this in LV10B. What we can actually see is all the rates are starting to coalesce. Before the 1 to 3 years, the 3 to 7, the 7 to 10, the 10 to 20 and the 20-year plus were all broadly spaced out. Now they're starting to come down together and we can see this drop. But when it comes to actually understanding the relationship between Bitcoin and Treasury bond prices, it's really hard to look in this direction. That's why I actually invert all these bond prices so that it gives us a better perspective on how the market may be actually moving. Masterclass students, you'll get this in LV10C. You can see the inverse of the bond prices, which is exactly the opposite chart of what I just showed you. We can see they're all moving up together. This forms another way that we can stack probabilities. You may hear economic commentators talk about real rates. What I've done is to understand how the stock market, the Nasdaq, relates to the inverse of real rates. What we're always seeking to do as crypto technical analysts is basically hunt the footsteps of investor attention. What we can see here is that there are very actual good associations between sharp drop-offs, for example, of the inverse real rate and the Nasdaq. The yellow line behind is Bitcoin's price action. So you can compare real rates inversed with the NASDAQ 100 with Bitcoin. This is actually really interesting analysis. The inverse real rate, when you get a very sharp drop off, can often push the price of the NASDAQ down and the major indices down. We're seeing this very quite good association here. This is yet another thing that we can look at. Masterclass students, you will get this in LV11. Bull markets climb a wall of worry, and when we look at Chinese property market sentiment across these 7 companies in China's stock market, we can see they have net debt of in excess of $1 trillion. Recently, all of these companies have been hit. These are actually going down. That has the potential to put negative price pressure on Bitcoin, and it's important never to light switch. When people are new into the crypto market, they inhabit zone 1, the panic zone, and zone 2, the blame zone. And it's really natural. All investors and traders progress through these zones to become profitable. What happens in zone 1 and zone 2 is people focus on certainty. They've been told a myth that the markets are certain, that you can predict everything. You simply cannot do that. All you can do is to stack probabilities. That's what we're doing when we go through our analysis every day. What unfortunately happens, the way certainty is created, when everything is green, people in zone 1 and zone 2, they start to buy. And when it goes red, they start to sell. You can see it could be really easy to mistime the buying and the selling. Unfortunately, a lot of influencers out there say to go all in and more, to just throw whatever money you have at a particular crypto. This is incredibly bad advice. You should never go all in and more, ever. You should actually buy at levels of support going down. You should scale in when it's red, and that means you'll stack your losses, and scale out when it's green, which will mean you will take profits in a reasonable, scientific, and considered manner. Zone 1 and Zone 2 has a couple of other problems. People believe that they can perfectly time the tops and bottoms, that they can capture everything. They get addicted to the news, and the news is there for advertisers. It's not there for you. And they get addicted to indicators. Indicators can be very confusing. You can put 3 or 4 indicators and they won't agree with each other. This creates significant stress and many sleepless nights. There's also a singular focus on just what people buy, their beloved alt. This is a dramatic mistake. If you don't look around at the larger picture, you'll miss so much. You can see just with the easing of the Russia-Ukraine situation, it caused a spike in global markets. That was a good thing. But if we see the opposite occurring, the precious metals could give us an understanding that that is on the way. In Zone 3 and Zone 4, we have volatility as our best friend. We love black swans. If they occur, we're really in rapture because it's fantastic. It's the single best time to buy. And that would be just a crazy idea when you look from a Zone 1 and Zone 2 perspective. But the professional zones, the professional trading and investment zones, they don't think like Zone 1 and Zone 2 people think. What I do every day is to give you an insight on how to get even better at Zone 3 and Zone 4 behavior, or get you across from Zone 1 and Zone 2 if you're there. And of course, the key thing to remember is everybody starts in Zone 1 and Zone 2. It's absolutely normal. So here we're just stacking probabilities. We see that there's a bit of pressure in the Chinese property market. That could become the new news story. When looking at Russian market sentiment, we can see the Russian index has actually repaired a little, and the Russian major firms are starting to improve in price. This would signify to us the probability of avoiding confrontation is on the cards. Masterclass students, you will get this in LV8. So what we've done is that we understand we must not light switch. We must be like a dimmer, scale in at levels of support and buy on the red, scale out on the green. at levels of resistance, and we understand that we must draw our support and resistance lines really, really well. We've got to check world events and collect probabilities. That's why we look outside at the trends. We're going into timing now where we're trying to find the market's focus. We understand that opportunities reset every day, and what I'm going to do is help you to enhance your pattern recognition. This is really important. I can't underestimate the power of actually knowing how patterns play out in the crypto market. What you're actually doing is going from throwing darts randomly to trying to get close as you can to a bullseye, and it's all probabilistic. It will not work 100% of the time, and that's okay, because if you manage your risk by picking well in the first place, that's what you need to do in crypto. Of course, real wealth is all about being in control of your emotions and understanding the laws and nature of wealth. If you don't know the rules of the game, you simply can't play, or if you play, you will fail. And it's like everything. If you don't know the rules, you just can't play the game effectively. Enhancing your pattern recognition is really, really important. The crypto market is all about crowd psychology. Crowd psychology actually creates price. And we can see the volatility of crowd psychology in here. Looking at Bitcoin, the current price, 44,095, is basically at a support level. We need to see price get above and head towards 47,658. It may drop back and retest 41,788. Let's just see how the geopolitical events actually fan out across the world. That's what we're looking at the moment. We can see Ethereum coming up to a level of resistance at 32.68. Binance Coin just overcoming a level of resistance here and seeking to turn it into support. What do we notice? This is a very, very big move up. Notice this big move. When you get big moves like that, they tend to digest. Big moves, when you go up the wall, you will come down the stairs. Just keep that in mind. But if you come down the wall, you also go up the stairs. That's also good to keep in mind. Sharp angles reflect. We can see XRP showing a lot of strength here. It's above various levels of support, looking quite good. Cardano is still under pressure, as is Solana. AVAX coming into a level of resistance, and so is Luna. Always keep in mind Rule 4, price moves in waves. This is to help you to get out of Zone 1 and Zone 2. Price is always coming up and then going down, coming up and then coming down. If you understand that, you'll know that price going up and down is just really normal stuff. Another thing that we must keep our eye on is Bitcoin's gravity. That's that blue line behind the price chart. Sometimes Bitcoin's gravity is very nicely aligned with a particular alt. Sometimes it diverges from the alt only to reconverge. We need to keep our eyes on both. Let's have a look at DOT. DOT is following Bitcoin's gravity, but it's a little bit weaker. Doge is pretty much on Bitcoin's directional movement. SHIB is acting with more strength. We can see Matic. Matic has bounced from a level of support. It has another level of resistance at just a little over $2. CRO has a very nice technical pattern coming in to retest this support. Remember that there is no certainty in the crypto market and prices are negatively biased. What does that actually mean? Have a look at Litecoin here. That really big dip on Litecoin. What about Chainlink? This really big dip here. That's where Zone 3 and Zone 4 investors party. We want to buy these spikes down because they can often repair very, very quickly for very good results. Not always, but many, many times. And if you're a long-term investor and not a trader, these are the perfect ways to dollar cost average in, far below what we would anticipate that we can get. Because this is crypto, it's incredibly volatile. Having a look at Litecoin. Litecoin is finding a level of support. Chainlink, looking a little bit weak. just above a support line, but not actually exhibiting a lot of strength at the moment. Near is looking quite good. There's a lot of horizontal support through here. That's what we want to look at. We want to look like there's a lot of fences below Percy's price action, and so it's going to be really hard for him to crack through those fences. As professional investors and traders, we're not really interested in picking the bottom. We want to pick something that we feel has a lot of support below it. Let's have a look at Uni. Uni has a bit of weakness compared to Bitcoin. Mana is showing strength comparative to Bitcoin. And we can see Cosmos showing a bit of strength here too, but we're getting some divergences out. Bitcoin Cash just simply following Bitcoin's gravity. We can see Algo very suppressed in relationship to the move that Bitcoin made. It's showing a lot of weakness. On the other hand, FTT or FTX token is showing a lot of support along this 42.96 mark. That's really good. This is the kind of stuff we want to get involved in, but we don't FOMO. We never FOMO. We know price is so incredibly volatile. Look at these up and down movements. These up and down movements occur all the time. We expect the downward movement. That's why we buy at levels of support below. Stellar, we can see Stellar doing well, but just following Bitcoin's gravity. The same with Ethereum Classic. Turning to the community favorites, we can see VRA is just below a level of resistance at 03287. Icon is just close to support. It's got a little bit of weakness compared to Bitcoin's gravity, but we know no alt can escape Bitcoin's gravity. We would expect a snapback on this. When we look at Rose, Rose is doing not too badly, and we can see an upward momentum here. From a technical perspective, looking at IOTA, IOTA has a lot of resistance coming through here at the 10477 mark. When it gets above, there's still more resistance, and I'll just zoom out to explain that. When looking from a technical perspective, we can see this 10477 mark has been defended very well for quite a period of time. There will be a lot of sellers above this line seeking to drive the price of IOTA down. It's just how support and resistance levels work, and many people could take profit from a lower level to here. When we get above 10477, the next really major one is 14531. This is a really good line because when you get above there with IOTA, the next one is just a little bit over $2. There's a lot of upward potential price movement in all of the cryptos. As Bitcoin recovers, because Bitcoin has been coming down for such a long period of time, it's going to drag every single alt up with its gravity. We can see IOTA did really well in terms of Bitcoin's gravity. Let me just zoom in there a bit. I know a few people in the IOTA community said, why isn't IOTA just going for it? Like Bitcoin's coming up so much. The reason was that it hit this 10477 resistance line. You can see here that Bitcoin's gravity was following, well, IOTA was following Bitcoin's gravity pretty much to a ping. Bitcoin took off. What happened to IOTA? It ran into sell pressure at this particular line, this white line, this 10477 line, and it took a while to get towards it. It got towards it. A lot of sell pressure, even though Bitcoin's gravity was pulling it up. And then when Bitcoin came down, IOTA went down harder. It's because of the 10477 mark. You can see why it's so important to understand technical analysis. Turning to LRC, LRC is making a series of higher lows. It's in an uptrend. Looking at YGG, YGG I came across because I looked at one of Guy's from Coin Bureau. He did a really good analysis of Yield Guild games, and I thought, wow, okay, I think this is worth tracking for the community. We can see a bit of a bounce here on YGG, but it's still under a lot of resistance. Please be aware of that. CRV putting in a very nice bounce, and CHR also bouncing from support. We know Bitcoin's gravity rules the crypto market, and what are we seeing right now? Percy is making a beeline for this 44,402. That's proven to be quite hard for Percy to get through. We've got a lot of support at this 43,824 mark, and down below at the 43,458 mark. We also have a target of 45,135 if we get through the 44,402 level. Okay, go for it, Percy. Do us proud. Now I will, Ken. I don't know, Percy. You've said that before and you've gone the other way. No, I will. I'll try. Very nice of you, Percy. If you would like to get into Zone 3 and Zone 4 and avoid the problems of Zone 1 and Zone 2, you may like to consider being a crypto technical analyst and scientifically tracking investor attention. All of these particular areas are covered inside the CryptoTradingKS Masterclass. I've left the link in the description of this video, but if you want to come across to www.cryptotechnicalanalysis.org, you can get an 80% off discount coupon from the CTKS ambassadors. That's the highest honor in crypto technical analysis. These people have shown their dedication and commitment to crypto technical analysis in all its facets, especially the real wealth aspects of integrity, decency, and kindness. And if you just scroll down a little bit, you can contact them directly by Twitter. If you go across to the testimonials page, there's a video at the top as to why I actually created the masterclass. It was to share 30 plus years inside financial markets, and there's very other compelling reasons that I did so as well. And if you go down through the testimonials, you'll see a lot of people giving their interpretations of what they found the masterclass to be like. So that could be really nice to have a look through those as well. I hope you found the content useful. Please consider sharing and liking this video if you think it will help others. Thank you very much to our moderators for keeping our community safe from scammers, and also to the CTKS ambassadors for mentoring masterclass students. Please say hi and let me know if you have any questions. If you would like daily updates on price movements in the crypto market 7 days a week, 365 days a year, please subscribe to YouTube. I've left helpful links in the description of this video, such as the CryptoTradingKS Masterclass. Please seek out the ambassadors to get 80% off. Please remember, crypto is volatile. Always prepare yourself for the best and worst case scenarios. Reality will likely be between them. Stay safe out there, my friends. Take care and see you next time. Bye for now.